And we have to fight the media, constantly fighting the media.
It's not easy to forget that Trump hates the mainstream media. He takes the time to remind journalists of that nearly every time he takes their questions.
Unlike you and unlike the media, before I make a statement, I like to know the facts.
Like this sleazy guy right over here from ABC. He's a sleaze.
I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine...
Very fake.
It may seem like Trump's always acted this way, but his hostility towards the media has actually intensified over the course of his time in politics. On the Monday following Thanksgiving, Trump suggested that we have a contest to decide which of the broadcast networks, plus CNN and not including Fox, should be named winner of a fake news trophy. But it's hardly the first time he's antagonized the press.
Is this what it's going to be like covering you if you're president?
Yeah, it is.
Let me tell you, we're going to have this kind of confrontation in the press room?
Okay, yeah, it is going to be like this, David.
That was in May 2016, before the RNC would declare him the Republican nominee for president, and many months before the release of the Access Hollywood tape. For most of his life in the public eye, the press has scrutinized Trump, something he often played to his advantage. In the early 1990s, as his business fortunes were in decline, along with his marriage to Ivana Trump, he played the salacious stories off the New York tabloids, generating some of its most memorable cover stories. But that symbiotic relationship eroded by the time he began attracting media attention for his statements as a candidate. What began as displeasure at unflattering stories about his candidacy took a different turn when it came to press coverage at his rallies.
And this crooked media, you talk about crooked Hillary, they're worse than she is.
As his rallies became larger and his crowds more animated, the journalists covering the events were confined to a press pen towards the back of the crowd, rather than covering the candidate from up close. A few first-hand accounts from reporters suggest the corral was used as a way to censor reporting.
It's going to be a great wall, and it's going to be paid for by Mexico.
Only a few days after that incident, Trump infamously mocked a disabled New York Times reporter.
Hey, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
He explained this away as mimicking the reporter's flustered response rather than his physical disability. Trump's rally rhetoric about the press continued its gradual crescendo through 2016, with a few scattered incidents spiking tensions between Trump supporters and those who covered them. In February 2016, photographer Christopher Morris was chokeslammed at a Trump rally by a Secret Service member.
I stepped 18 inches out of the pen, and he grabbed me by the neck and started choking me, and then he slammed me to the ground.
And the following month, police charged campaign manager Corey Lewandowski with battery after he grabbed Breitbart reporter Michelle Fields. As the year progressed, Trump's campaign would revoke credentials or ban certain outlets based on unfavorable coverage. As Election Day crept closer, Trump's rhetoric began inspiring a more grassroots approach to media criticism. Fueled by a vocabulary from the growing white nationalist movement, who vocally supported Trump, reporters began to encounter situations like this.
That's what you are! Lügenpresse!
That's Lügenpresse, a term that means lying press. Aside from its clearly hateful meaning, its etymology has particularly sinister roots. It hit the height of its popular usage during Hitler's Third Reich, when it was used to denigrate the media and others who opposed the Nazis. Months later, Trump's own staff echoed the idea of a lying media, calling it the opposition party.
I think if you look at, the opposition party and how they portrayed the campaign, how they portrayed the transition, and now they're portraying the administration, it's always wrong.
A few days earlier, Trump himself had declared the media the enemy of the American people. During the transition, he called a meeting with network news executives and journalists in New York, only to berate them for their unfair coverage as soon as the closed-doors meeting began. December 10th, 2016 was the first time he tweeted the now infamous phrase, fake news, to criticize unfavorable coverage of himself, which later caught on as an evasive tactic for his administration.
Fake news directed at this president.
After a rocky start to the presidency, Trump held his first press conference, which seemed like an attempt at communication and transparency. But it was surprisingly unhinged. He told CNN's Jim Acosta, to his face, that the network was
very fake news.
He asked April Ryan, American Urban Radio Network's DC bureau chief, if she knew the Congressional Black Caucus and could potentially arrange a meeting with them. And he told Jake Turks, an Orthodox Jewish reporter for Ami magazine, that he was not anti-Semitic, before attacking Turks personally. which means he made good on his word.
Is this what it's going to be like covering you if you're president?
Yeah, it is.
Though Trump's reaction to coverage of his statements after the white supremacist violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, indicated a new level of distaste for the press.
And you take a look at some of the groups and you see, and you know it if you were honest reporters, which in many cases you're not.
Which boiled over into fury at a rally he held the next day in Phoenix, Arizona, where he accused the media of being anti-American.
These are really, really dishonest people, and they're bad people. And I really think they don't like our country. I really believe that.
And in October, Trump denounced reporting by NBC News that he had requested a nearly tenfold increase in the U.S. nuclear arsenal as fake news, adding,
It's frankly disgusting the way the press is able to write whatever they want to write.
he had harsher words for the broadcast media on Twitter. The media's diligent reporting in the face of Trump's rhetoric has nonetheless led to some of the more impactful moments of his presidency. The investigation into his son Donald Jr.'s role in potential Russian election interference, the resignations of Michael Flynn, Anthony Scaramucci, and Steve Bannon, and countless other revelations that have had a negative impact on the president's ability to accomplish his policy goals. But though tensions are high so early in his presidency, the trend shows no sign of reversing.